Welcome back to video number 2 for this Wednesday. Just when you thought that the trip to Australia couldn't get any more exciting, and that woman has been in lots of trouble before. And as usual, I have brought you guys the receipts. You don't want to miss this. So let's just jump in and cover it now, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start with King Charles, who features on the cover of Majesty magazine in November, where they call the Duchess of Edinburgh the dutiful Duchess. Also, a new painting of the Royal Coat of Arms was published by Buckingham Palace. Very nice. Here we go. Charles and Camilla landed in Canberra, Australia on the 21st of October. FYI, for those of you who don't know, this is Charles' 16th official visit to Australia. He spent 6 months attending school there as a teenager in 1966, but this is, of course, his first time attending as king, as sovereign. Now, the king is wearing the Order of Australia today. I wondered what that big disc was. And Queen Camilla, oh my goodness. Wow. She was wearing the brooch. Do you guys see the brooch that she's wearing? I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. It's the Cordald Thomas scallop shell brooch, which used to belong to the Queen Mother. Thank you to Remoulade Sauce for this close-up picture of what she was wearing. So they arrived, they got off the plane, they were greeted officially. Charles did, the walk, you know how that goes. They were given flowers. There were lots of people lined up to meet them, but there was one person that absolutely caught my attention. Well, I guess she's a person, but she was a little person. And it was this absolutely adorable child that said that she was practiced her curtsy and was ready to meet them. I love that. All right, after that, Charles and Camilla headed to the Australian War Memorial, where they laid a floral tribute at the tomb of the unknown Australian soldier. The last time they were there at this war memorial was in 2015. And of course, while they were there, they stopped at the, quote, For Our Country Memorial, which acknowledges the deep connection the First Nation Australians have with their land and the role they continue to play defending it. When they were done with the signings and everything that they had to do, they went up. There was a large amount of people waiting for them. Now, one of these articles talked about one person from Melbourne who met the king and queen the day before in Sydney, and she went all the way there because she was hoping to see King Charles again. All right, now, one of the people in the crowd was an alpaca. I'm not kidding. They put him in a crown and a suit, and he was wearing a golden bow tie. And what happened was the king was being introduced to him, and the alpaca decided to sneeze on the king. The alpaca is used, just as an FYI, as a support animal for charities and nursing homes. There were thousands of people there waiting to see the king and the queen. By the way, the owner of the alpaca said he's a pro-monarchy alpaca. All right, let's move on. So the day was going well, and this is where it took an ugly turn. So the king walked in with Prime Minister Anthony Albanese to the Australian Parliament House. So the next thing that happens was an Australian politician staged a foul-mouthed protest at the royal reception that was being attended by King Charles and Queen Camilla. Now, I've taken the sound out because, quite frankly, you didn't need to hear what she said. She says, "You committed genocide against our people. F the colony." I'm not kidding. It was unbelievable. "Give us back our land. Give us what you stole from us. Our bones, our skulls, our babies, our people. You've destroyed our land. Give us a treaty. We want a treaty." Can you believe this? Now, for some reason, nobody grabbed this woman. They just allowed her to keep running her mouth. So the security didn't stop her. They let her walk all the way up. I don't know why they did that, but then they grabbed her. And as they start to usher her away, she becomes louder and more animated. "This is not your land. This is not your land. You are not my king. You are not my king." And they take her out the door. Oh my God. So first off, this woman swore an oath of allegiance to the crown in order to take her place in the Senate and get paid. So she broke her oath when she created this big scene today. A lot of people spoke up on X. They were like, who told her that she could speak for other people? You should have some respect for this man. He's the king and he has at least earned that. Some, basic respect. So everybody was just disgusted that this woman, she's a senator, Lydia Thorpe, in case I didn't give you her name, did not have the respect to be in the reigning monarch's presence without yelling and screaming and calling him a genocidal killer. So if she was trying to upset the king and the queen, it didn't work. This is how they reacted to it, both of them. He's smiling, as he should be. This woman was a clown. She acted like a clown. So let me tell you something. There's Backlash, and it was swift, and a lot happened. So let's just cover what happened almost immediately after this. To start with, the Australian monarchist leave was calling for her immediate resignation from Parliament. Well, it didn't take long. There should be a poll. Should somebody apologize to King Charles? Like, are you kidding? That's the best you've got? Well, let me tell you, other people stepped up to the plate. And one of those people was Australian Senator Ralph Babbitt, who responded and said, I condemn in the strongest possible terms the actions of Senator Lydia Thorpe today, where she heard verbal abuse at our king to show such disrespect to King Charles. Yeah, he went on and on and on about it. It was unbelievable. You know who else spoke out? Nova Paris. I mean, the people were outraged. People in the Senate were outraged and disgusted and said they could not believe that this woman actually had done this. They were just like, wow. I think that woman's insane because, again, she took an oath swearing allegiance to the Australian monarchy to be in the job. So that literally is her king. So now this woman is being schooled in the rule of law, and they're saying that this woman, needs a refresher course in civics and citizenship because her assertion that King Charles is not her king is actually at odds with the constitutional reality and the fact that she swore allegiance to the crown when she entered Parliament. The crown in question is not that of Britain. It is the Australian crown, an institution that King Charles personifies by force of Australian law. And this woman seems to have forgotten that the debate about whether this country is entirely sovereign, legally independent, and totally decolonized was settled in 1986. This woman, after she was escorted out, posted a picture, a cartoon of a King Charles beheaded. Who is this woman and why is she in any seat of power in Australia? Now, of course, when this came out, she put up a statement claiming that she had nothing to do with that. She was like, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. It was done without my knowledge. I took it down the second I saw it. Girl, we see you. We totally see you. This is not the first time she's behaved inappropriately. In April of 2023, there were calls for her to be booted from Parliament because she went into a Melbourne strip club and she was filmed saying really nasty things about the size of their parts. This is only one of several incidents involving this woman, and apparently protections are in place. They're saying that make it virtually impossible to get rid of a senator. She can be dropped from a party, but can only be removed from Parliament under special circumstances, and bad behavior is not apparently one of the reasons. Now, an employment law firm legal associate told the Daily Mail that had it been any other workplace, she would have been fired, because if you do something that harms the reputation of a company, that amounts to serious misconduct, and free speech is not absolute. You can't just go around making comments about the size of people's genitalia on camera in a drunken rage and think that people are just not going to say anything about it. Well, here's another incident that happened in March of 2023. There was a small rally for anti-trans campaigners, and the woman was speaking, and this woman comes running up on them, and the police took her down like it was nobody's business. And they said that, the police are de-escalating the violence, and you can't, listen, free speech. You can't stop these people from giving their opinion. As you can see in the video, it was wet The grass was wet. It had been raining. It seems to me she slipped. And then it looks like the officers were trying to help her up. So instead of letting them help her, she literally crawled away from them. And then she said, now the police are going to have to answer to, they want a briefing from the police as soon as possible. It's like, are you kidding me? The police need to explain how this happened. Let me tell you how this happened. This woman marched up aggressively and tried to stop these people speaking. That's how that happened. Now, I don't know anything about their law there. I don't know anything about their parliament terms. I don't know how long they stay in office for. But it seems to me that, I doubt you're in for life. And it seems to me that people would just want to vote this woman out the second they get the chance, because I think she's crazy. Like, I seriously think there's something wrong with her. And then wait, it gets even better. Her own father stepped out and said that she was racist. So anyway, after they drugged that woman's sorry rear end out of Parliament House, the reception continued. They went outside. There were lots and lots of people waiting outside. As a matter of fact, what I read is that a large majority of people in Australia were upset because there wasn't enough information being given about where and when they could go to see the king and the queen. Now, later on, they had obviously been somewhere because Camilla was in a different outfit. She changed clothes now. And the two of them were at the Australian National Botanical Gardens. Now, at some point, they were walking down supposedly some uneven stairs. Charles was with the head of the gardens, Dr. Purcell, and the king slightly tripped because he didn't see a step that led down to the viewing platform. And he chuckled and looked up and said, yeah, that was not what I was expecting. Camilla took a very measured, careful approach down the stairs. I bet she did. Now, at some point, they returned to the government house, or it might have been while they were there and Camilla was changing clothes. I'm not sure of the order. But every royal visit to the government house since 1985, the royal family plants a eucalyptus tree in the gardens, and today was no different. While they were at the government house, Queen Camilla attended a discussion on domestic violence. We know that's one of her big charities. That's one of her big things. It was a roundtable discussion. There were survivors and campaigners there, and it's being reported Camilla heard how the high rate of violence against Aboriginal women is, quote, Australia's shame. Now, a few other things took place during the day, but again, I'm not sure of the order. First of all, the king held audiences with Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and the leader of the opposition, Peter Dutton. The king watched some demonstrations and spoke to firefighters about some new equipment from the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization, which is Australia's national science agency. They're doing research, developing models and testing equipment to study the spread of bushfires under different weather conditions. And then Queen Camilla went to see Give It. She has been the patron of this group since 2020. She spoke with the charities, volunteers, and staff, and they help support the needs of Australians that are facing hardships. And they match donations of essential items and services. I think that's wonderful. All right, you guys, you know what to do. I really want your comments on this one. I'm going to be reading them. Oh my God. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell, which helps the algorithm. And then go down into the description box where you'll find the links to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon, which is currently paused, a physical address, my Amazon wish list. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.